Hey guys, and welcome to episode 6 in the Python programming series. This episode will be about modules and importing them. One of the reasons why Python is so popular is because it is open source. This means that anyone can create and publish add-ons. These add-ons are called modules. So without any further delay, let's see how to code these modules. One of the many modules that you can use in Python is called random. The way we import modules is by typing in import and then the name of the module. Now, in some cases, you'll have to install it. However, in this case, the random module comes pre-installed in Python. So we will just type random. And now, when we run this, it won't do anything, but it won't give us any errors, which is good. Next, we can use functions that come embedded in this module. So one of the functions that the random module does is it generates random numbers. Great, well, how do we use this random module? Well, first we can set a variable. I'll call mine number. And then the way we generate random numbers is by referencing the module. So in this case it would be random. And then dot. And then anything that comes after dot is referencing this random module. So in this case I'll call the function randint, and this is a function that someone else made in the random module, so we can use it by importing the random module. And in here there are two arguments, which are the boundaries for the random number. I'm gonna put 1 to 10. Now I can print this value. And when we run this, we will see the random number we get is 5. Now the beauty of this is it'll be different every single time. So if I run it again, it'll be 2. Then I can run it again, and it'll be 5. And then every single time I run it, it keeps changing. Here we're getting a lot of 5s. Okay, there's a 10. And it goes from 1 to 10 inclusive. So it will always generate a number from 1 to 10. You'll never see a number out of that range. However, if we modify this to, let's say, 11, now we might get an 11, although it may take a little bit of time. But if we change it from 1 to 100, we'll see a lot more numbers there, 78. And you can use these two numbers to generate a random number with whichever boundary you would like. Another module that we can use in Python is called the time module. Now, like the random module, it also comes pre-installed. So all we have to do to import it is simply type import time. Now, one thing that the time module can do is wait a certain amount of time, because you may have been noticing if we have a print statement, as soon as we click run and run our program, it'll immediately print. So what we can do is wait a certain amount of time, because you may not want all of your code to execute at once. The way we wait is by typing time, you reference the module, dot, sleep, and then in here we specify how many seconds we want. In this case I'll do 5, and then underneath it I will type waited 5 seconds. Now when we run this, we notice that it doesn't print immediately. It's waiting, and then boom, it waits 5 seconds. Now we can also go before and type printed immediately, and if we run this, it prints this immediately, and then after 5 seconds, it'll print waited 5 seconds. So one of the functions we can use in the time module is called time.sleep. The last module that I'm going to go over is called OS. Now, like the other two modules, it comes pre-installed, so all we have to do to get it is type import OS. And what this module does is it can do a lot of stuff with files, and it can access a lot of cool commands that we can run previously only from command prompt. So one example I'm going to show you is how to get a list of all the files in the folder that you're currently in. So the way we do this is by making a variable called current folder. Then you set that equal to os.get current, this CWD stands for get current directory. Directory is nothing but a folder. And if we print this, you'll see that it tells us where we are. And in this case, it's correct. I am in my Programming Basics folder, but it gives us the whole thing so that we don't have to worry about typing it or maybe we misspell it. So that's what the os.getCWD function does. And what we can do is use that to get a list of all the files. So we make a new variable, files, and we set it equal to os dot, and then in this case, it's another function called list dir. Dir again means directory, which is the folder, list all the files in the folder. Then we have to specify the folder, but we already know the folder we're in, current folder. So if we literally type current folder, now if we print files, and we run it, it'll print all the files in our folder, which is main.py, which is my Python file, and then a folder and a hidden file that is in my folder. So this may look a little confusing, so let's go over it. We use the OS module, but we import it by literally typing in import OS, and we make a current folder variable that and we use the os.getCWD function to literally get the current directory or current folder that we're in, and then we use the os.listdir function to get all the files in that folder that we're in, and then we print the files. This is a little bit complicated, but as you go more in depth and intermediate in Python modules, you'll get a lot of syntax from different modules that you'll have to understand. So hopefully that makes sense. In Python, some modules come pre-installed, such as random, OS, and time. We've all seen these before, but what about modules that don't come pre-installed? How do you install them? Well, I'm going to show you two ways to do that. First way is in PyCharm itself. If you go to the top right, click File, then click Settings, and then it'll give you a load of settings. You want to go to Python interpreter, and it might be inside of the project folder. And then here it lists all the modules that you have installed. Some of these are pre-installed, and in my case I've already installed a few, but the way you install more is by clicking this plus and then typing whatever package you want. In my case, I'll type BS4. Now, I'm not going to go over what this module does, but the nice thing is it leaves a guide to what it does, basically documentation on how to use it. But I do plan to go over this in a future video. Anyways, what you do is you want to check this box, and then once you have it selected, click install package. And it may be a little bit hard to see, but it says installing. Give it a moment. There we go. So now it says package BS4 installed. So you can exit out of that and click OK. And now if we type import BS4, we can see it doesn't give us any errors. But if I try to import a module that I don't have installed, let's say it's OpenCV, which is another module, you can see that it has a red line under it. That means Python doesn't really recognize it, and it says no module named OpenCV, and if we run this, it'll say pretty much the same thing. It didn't find a module named OpenCV because we don't have it installed. Another way that you can install modules is through the command line. So the way you do this is open up command prompt, and so when we installed Python, we also installed its package manager, which is called pip. Now to test and make sure you have it, you can type pip, and you'll see it gives you a lot of options for what you can use pip for. But if you get an error that says pip not found, you might have to do python -m pip instead of pip, and this does the same thing. So now what we're going to do is install it. So to install it, it's really simple. We just do pip install and then the name of the module, which the name of the module would be BS4, and then click enter. And yeah, it's going to say requirement already satisfied because we have already installed BS4. Well guys, that concludes the end of not only this episode, but this entire series. We have covered a lot, but there is still so much more to learn about Python. In the future, I will be posting more videos on different modules and more programming concepts. But until then, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!